All right, so yeah, hopefully, people not rough draft, got their final draft in. All right, and if you didn't, get it in, get it in. I'm checking the assignment folder now. All right, the handful of them in here. If you didn't get yours in, make sure you get it in ASAP. Make sure you get it in ASAP. Um, had a good series of meetings with you all last week. Our one-on-one sessions. Um, and we're gonna do that a couple more times this semester. One with this upcoming paper that we have, and then once more for your final essay. All right. So again, like I was saying, hopefully you got this draft in your final draft. But I think more important, well, not more importantly than that, but equally as important, like hopefully you're like discovering your own writing process. All right. So as we get started on our next essay, I want you to think back, on what worked for you with this essay and what didn't work for you as far as your writing process is concerned. All right. So think about, whether there could be anything different, with your this upcoming essay we'll talk about today, then we'll wrap it up on Thursday. All right. So yeah, right. Hopefully you got them in. Okay. If not, hopefully they're on their way. Okay. So today, let me close out of some of this other stuff. Today, I really just wanted to talk about your next paper. Oh, Professor Norwood, we just finished the paper. Well, we got to start a new one. Right? It's just the way it is, man. It's the way it is. Okay, we don't stop. All right. So I'm just gonna go. Actually, I'm gonna start sharing the screen. All right, now, okay, I'm just going to go into content, and then I'm in. Oh, it's supposed to be February 22nd. I was wondering. I was okay. What's today? All right. So now, if you refresh your page on D2L, you should be able to see a new module that starts. It was initially supposed to start today, but I had the date set for March 22nd instead of February 22nd. All right. But if you're on D2L now, just refresh your page. You'll be able to see it. All right. And the module that we're about to start, or the process we're about to start, is this writing a causal analysis module. And it's our next essay, and we're it's a different challenge than what we just accomplished with our narrative essays. So I think we're ready for it, at this point. All right. So I'm just gonna go over the prompt right now, and then I'm gonna go over our pre-writing. Just like we started our narrative essays with some pre-writing, we're going to do the same for this essay. The only difference is our pre-writing will take a different approach to our pre-writing, but the principle is going to be the same, meaning we're going to generate ideas, and then we are going to get ourselves organized with this thing. All right, so again, I am in this writing a causal analysis module. If you don't see it on your D2L just yet, refresh your page. All right, refresh your page and you'll be able to see it. Okay. And the first thing, I'm kind of going in reverse here, but the first thing is I want to show you the prompt. And if you notice the date, the rough draft for you all isn't due until March 15th. I know it seems like a long way away, but remember, you guys are off next week, or we're all off next week, even though I'll be working for most of the break. All right, but you're off next week. So we actually won't meet again. After this week, we actually won't meet again until the 8th. All right. But I'm just going to click on this thing and get it open so we can already look at it. We already have one open. So causal analysis. And really, causal analysis is just a fancy way of saying cause and effect. All right. So essentially, with this essay, what you all are going to be doing is examining a cause and effect relationship. What relationship? That's totally up to you. Not totally up to you, but 99% up to you. We'll just say that. All right. So again, if you're just joining us, this prompt is in the writing of causal analysis module on D2L, or what is this, week 7, the week 7 module? I don't even know. I don't have you guys' modules broken down by weeks, but we are in week 7. Right? Things are moving quite rapid. Okay, here it is. Causal analysis, essay number 2. All right. Cause and effect, or causal analysis, is the study of what happens and why it happens. Okay. That's really what this essay is going to be looking at. Either why something happened or the effects of something that happened. Right? That's what we're going to do in its most basic form. Either look at why something happened, or either look at the effects of something that has already happened. All right. It is rooted in our fundamental need to know why and what if. Okay? Those are human needs, right? Just that question, why or what if. Our desire to make connections between the events of our lives drives us to understand reasons and results, and analyzing cause and effect relationship deepens our understanding of the world we live in. Maybe you want to discuss how nutrition affects education. Maybe you want to discuss the effects of food deserts, right? Maybe you want to discuss the effects of certain laws, that have been passed. Okay. Maybe you want to discuss the causes of climate change. Okay. Totally up to you. Right. An article analyzing the unexpected outcome of an election, a report linking poor nutrition to low academic performance, or an editorial analyzing the impact of a proposed law are all examples of cause and effect writing. Okay. For your assignment, choose one of the broad subjects below and narrow it down to a manageable topic. We'll look at the broad subjects in a minute. But the first part of this assignment, before you even start committing your ideas to paper, before you start, getting an outline together, definitely before you start getting a draft together, the very first stage of this assignment is deciding what you are going to write about and making sure that it's something that's manageable. And when I say manageable, something that you're going to be able to address, within the pages that we have, for this assignment. Okay. Like if you want to discuss, Professor Noah, I want to discuss, the collapse of the auto industry. Right. That's too broad for this assignment. Okay. Too broad for this assignment, meaning you don't have the space, to address an issue that huge. All right. So the first part of this assignment is to take a big idea and make it small. All right. And I'll show you what I mean when we get towards the bottom of this assignment. So for your assignment, choose one of the broad subjects below and narrow it down to a manageable topic. Once you're satisfied with the topic, and after you receive your instructor's approval, and that can be like via email, like, hey, Norwood, here's what I'm writing about. Or, Thursday, we're going to have another short Zoom meeting. So, maybe during that meeting, you've already got it worked out what you're going to do with your essay. That's cool. All right, so once you are satisfied with the topic and after you receive your instructor's approval, compose an essay that either identifies a phenomenon, social issue, academic issue, event, trend, or whatever, and discuss the resulting effects. So if you go with choice A, here's what you're going to be saying. Here's this thing that happened, and here are the results of this thing that happened. Right? tuition increased. I don't know if that's true or false. I'm just making a point here, but tuition has increased, and here are the results. There's a new law that was just passed, and here are the results. Right? So that's one choice. Here's this thing that happened, and here are the effects of this thing that happened. All right, you can do that, or you can identify a thing that happened and discuss why it happened. Here's something that happened, and here's why it happened. Okay. So you're either going to be writing an essay that analyzes causes or an essay that analyzes effects. All right. So simply put, you are to discuss why something happens or the effects of something that happens. All right. And before you start this essay, or before we get too deeply into this, I again, want to just say, don't overthink this. All right, don't overthink this. Again, you're just writing about either why something happened or the effects of something that happened. That's something, I keep saying something because that's up to you. You're going to fill in the blank. All right, so that something is whatever you want it to be within certain parameters. All right, now here's how we're changing direction from what we just did. All right, your first essay was this, I believe. All right, you use the personal experience in that essay as well to build your essay. Okay, and that was cool, for our first essay. But we're kind of taking the opposite approach with this essay, meaning it's not a personal essay. So the words I believe, I think, in my opinion, I feel, these words should not appear anywhere in this essay. Okay, so it's not about personal experience. I can't state that strongly enough. All right, so it's not a personal experience. It's not a I think. It's not a I feel. It's not any of those things. All right, and it's not a pro or a con essay, meaning like you're just listing the pros and cons of a certain thing that happened. The goal of this assignment is to analyze causes and or effects of an occurrence. Okay, now here's the details of this thing. Okay, first thing, like I was saying before, okay, the first thing is you need a topic that's sufficiently narrow. Your essay is not going to work if your topic is too broad, because you're going to find yourself writing and writing and writing, but never really addressing the entire scope of whatever you're talking about. So try to choose something that's narrow. All right, like some of the examples I had before, like the effects of nutrition on learning. Right, that's narrow enough to handle in this paper. Okay, the effect of poverty on learning, again, right, narrow enough. Okay, effects of electric cars. So you don't want to talk about the something that pertains to the entire auto industry, but if you want to talk about the effects of electric cars, that's cool. I read a good one last semester, and this kind of spoke to my sensibilities as someone that's into shoes. But a student wrote a very good essay about the effects of bots on sneaker culture, man. Yeah, bots suck too, man. If you don't know what a bot is, it's just how people get the shoes before anybody, to give an oversimplified explanation. Okay, but I brought that up because I think when you're thinking about what to write about for this essay, the first place you should start is just ask yourself, or look at your own interests. Right, this essay isn't going to be a personal essay, but that doesn't mean that you can't write about something that you have a personal interest in. So if your interest is shoes or fashion or whatever, write about that. If your interest is gaming, write about that. If your interest is politics and social issues, write about that. So you have like a certain level of freedom with this essay. All right, but I think it all depends on you breaking your topic down into something that's going to be manageable. All right, now we're also stepping up page length for this essay, right? Our last one was 3 to 5. This one's 4 to 6. Okay, 4 to 6. Something that we're all fully capable of doing. Okay. 6. Right. MLA formatting guidelines, something we've been doing. Avoid first and second person point of view. So for your first essay, right, on a few in this class and then my other section of English 1510 that I just finished conferencing with, you know, I've been talking about the use of second person point of view. You, your, you are. All right. Always off, not always, but most of the time off limits in academic writing. All right. There's exceptions to every rule. All right, but for the most part, you know, we try to encourage our students, you know, to not use second person point of view because it assumes a relationship with your reader that you may not have. All right. So you is off the table, but also with this essay, I, me, we, us, our, mine. They get them all. Okay. All your first person pronouns are off the table. Okay. So no first person, no I, me, we, us, mine, our. I think I already said that first. All right. And then no second person point of view. All right. This is also something that's different from our last essay. You need a clear thesis statement at the end of your intro. For your first essay, your thesis statement was basically your thesis statement was your belief statement. All right, which is cool, which was perfect for your first essay. And you had a little bit of freedom concerning where you place your thesis statement or your belief statement. You know, some of you led with it, which was cool. Some of you just had it tucked into your intro paragraph, which was fine as well. And then some of you did, you know, go traditional and place it at the end. But for this essay, all of our thesis statements are going to be at the end of our introduction. And the logic behind that is your introduction like builds up to your thesis statement. And if you're concerned right now, I'm going to show you examples of all this stuff. All right, like body intro, body paragraphs, thesis statements, all that. So don't be concerned. You know, if you're like, I can't see anybody's face right now, but if you're, you know, if you got that look on your face, you know, it's you don't need that look. All right. So clearly stated thesis at the end of your intro, organized body paragraphs that begin with topic sentences and contain relevant supporting details. So we are going a little more traditional with these essays. Our first essays, you were just telling a story, you were just recreating an experience, you were sharing insights, you know, into why you believe a certain thing, and you know, that's great. But this essay, we're going a bit more structured, meaning like we're going to have an intro, right? And the intro, you know, like all of our intros, paragraphs are going to be different, but all of them should contain an attention grabber, some background, and then your thesis statement. And when it comes to your body paragraphs, you should start with the topic sentence and then, you know, follow that up with some relevant supporting details. All right. And keep that pattern going, you know, throughout your paper. Okay. Now, here's something that's really different from what we just did. Okay. It's going to be our first little foray into doing research. All right. This isn't like a full-on research paper, but you are going to have to consult some outside sources for this essay. Okay. Going to have to consult some outside sources. Right? Credible sources. Okay. Don't rely on YouTube. Right. I'll show you how to find sources in our library, and you can use Google, you know, but Google is only reliable to a certain extent. And I will say, you know, if you Google something, you are going to get reliable information, but you're also going to get unreliable information. That's just the nature of Google. When you search something, you get everything. And then I think with, you know, the way algorithms work these days, maybe you only get certain hits when you do a search because your search is going to be tailored to, you know, whatever algorithm, you know, that you're in. So you need a minimum of 3 sources. Okay. And I'll go over MLA citation. Don't worry about that. Right. And then you need a works cited page. Okay. I'll show you the easiest way ever to do a works cited page. All right. An MLA works cited page, but even APA, but we don't use APA. All right. Now, those are the guidelines. Here, when I say you have the freedom to choose what you want to write about, you do. But when I say, that freedom, it comes with it's like us in the US, man. We got freedom, but that freedom should also come partnered with responsibility. All right. It's not just a free for all. Okay. Same thing with our papers. All right. So I've given you categories, right? And that's one of the guidelines for this assignment. Okay. What you choose is up to you. Just make sure it has a connection to one of these categories. And I tried to be as comprehensive as possible, right? So whatever you're thinking, should fall into one of these categories. Like, choose one of the following broad subjects and narrow it to a specific topic, or narrow it to a topic you can write about in 4 pages, 4 to 6 pages. For example, if you choose relationships, right? Because that's one of the topics. I think, yeah, it is. Okay. All right. I just did this last semester too, so I should know that. All right. So if you choose relationships, right, that's fine. That's one of our categories. But break it down, right? So relationships is the big idea. All right, cool, student. What are you going to talk about? Specifically when it comes to relationships. Well, I want to discuss some of the causes of divorce in the U.S. Perfect. That will work well for this assignment. Okay, because when you look at it, it's the causes of divorce are not always cut and dry. And if you look at the numbers, we're at about like 53%, meaning like 53% of marriages in the US end in divorce, right? And the funny thing, not really funny, but I guess, yeah, the funny thing is, as a person, like, if it's their second marriage, the chances for divorce are even higher. I think it's in like the 60s, like 67% or something like that. Don't quote me on that though. And then for the third marriage, the chances of divorce are even higher. All right. Interesting stuff. All right. But you can look at those numbers if you want. But again, if you choose relationships, start with that big idea. All right, but now, what do you want to talk about, as it relates to relationships? Another good one I got, it was the last semester or a couple semesters ago, was the effect of social media on relationships. Okay. I'm not really a big social media user, so I learned a lot from just reading this paper. All right. So a topic that's too broad will lead to a spiraling essay that doesn't really make a clear point. Like, if look at this first example, right? Let's say you want to talk about technology, right? And you say, Norwood, you know what? I want to talk about the effects of technology on society. It's way too broad. Way too broad. First, your reader's going to be thinking, well, what do you mean by technology? Because when we think about it, is it the smartphone or the invention of the wheel? Right? Both examples of technology. All right. So again, you can start with the big idea of technology, but break it down. And I have examples in parentheses, but you don't have to use any of these examples. These are just examples. All right. So if you start with technology, think about the effects of smartphones on our attention span. Okay. Now we're talking. Okay. Now we're talking. Now we're getting narrow. Okay. The effects of digital distribution on the music industry. Okay. Now we're talking. That's also, it's technology related point where actually last night in a class I was teaching, we were talking about just the way music is delivered these days. Like, does nobody on this session buys like CDs anymore? I know vinyl is making a comeback, but nobody buys CDs anymore, right? So CDs have become like an outdated technology. So most of our music is consumed, you know, via streaming. All right. So a good essay will look at the effects of streaming, right, on the music industry or on individual artists, because it is a lot easier for artists these days to get their music out. All right. But those are just 2 points. With technology, it's broad enough to where you have, you know, many, many topics to choose from. All right. Health, right? The causes or the effects of childhood obesity. Okay, in the US, we have, you know, we have many crises, you know, at any given time, but obesity has been pretty consistent, you know, as far as one of our national health crises. All right. So maybe you want to talk about the causes or the effects, you know, of childhood obesity. But again, you don't have to talk about obesity or childhood obesity. But you know, maybe you're writing about something that falls under the health umbrella. A good one I got was the effects of increased cost to health insurance. That was a really good one. Pop cultural trends. There's a lot you can talk about in this category. The causes or effects of celebrity worship, why certain trends become popular. Um, Man, one of the ones I got, this was actually last semester, was about the effects of parents trying to make their kids into YouTube stars, right? That was interesting. Okay. And that was also like another one that was outside the box. Okay. Causes, this is a real paper I got too, causes of plastic surgery or body enhancement. Basically, the student wrote a paper about like butt implants. And it was actually a really good paper though. Because it was like on the surface, it was about butt implants, but really it was a paper about self-esteem. Right. And you know, and other aspects of body enhancement. But again, pop cultural trends, that you know, that encompasses a lot. And I was intentionally broad with that. Education, right? The causes or effects of increased tuition, the effects of art or music on learning or arts infused education, effects of poverty on education, effects of standardized testing, right? Whatever you want to write about that falls within that category. Okay, economics, okay, how poverty affects education and so on and so forth, how poverty pretty much affects everything. But, you know, if you're writing about that, try to be specific, okay? Maybe your bag is like social political issues, that's cool. Causes or effects of discrimination, you know, based on race, based on sexual identity, based on religion, based on gender, based on ability, based on whatever, okay? Effects of police misconduct, effects of mass incarceration or causes of mass incarceration, all right? Whatever your interests are. Relationships, okay? Talked about causes of divorce, causes of infidelity, like why people go outside of their relationships, right? Maybe you're a legal person, okay? Causes of recidivism. And recidivism, if you don't know, it's just like the revolving door of our prison system in the US. Unfortunately, we don't do that great of a job of preparing people for life after incarceration, which causes people to sometimes reoffend. All right. Effects of legalized marijuana, even though that one's kind of been done to death. All right. But you know, if you have something new to add to that conversation, you can. All right. But you know, that's there's a ton of things you could write about. Sports, okay, effects of head trauma in youth sports. That was actually a real paper I got. That was pretty good. Effect of reality TV. Okay, that'll be more or less entertainment, whatever. Okay, then media, right? Causes or effects of fake news, effects of media on perpetuating stereotypes, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, you know, maybe you want to go with something like STEM related, or, you know, science related, right? The causes, man, I just read a great article about this too. Causes or effects of being anti-science. That's kind of a place where we're in right now in the US, unfortunately, affects of girls in STEM. All right, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. All right. And that there's actually real programming, like I call it girls in STEM, but it's a push to get more, more women involved in like STEM fields, which is certainly needed, need more representation. All right. So within those categories I just ran down to you, okay, try to choose something that interests you. Okay. Again, like I was saying before, I tried to be as comprehensive as I could, right? But think about it, you know, taking all that I said into consideration, it's what I said before. Think about what interests you, right? What do you think about? Okay. When you listen to the news or you read the news, or you're just like having barbershop talk. All right. You're around talking, you're talking with your friends, right? Because sometimes like some of the best topics can come just out of our everyday lives. Okay. That was like the sneaker bot thing. That just came from a conversation me and the student that I was having with this student. Okay. Like we were both admiring each other's shoes, and we got to talking about bots and all that, and it turned into a paper for him. All right. So what I'm saying is, sometimes the best material just comes from your day-to-day experiences. All right. Now, while you must choose one of the above subjects, the subjects are the bold print. All right. You are not obligated to write about any of the suggested topics. The topics are the examples. All right. Topic you write about is in your hands. Again, I can't stress this enough. Be sure to avoid overly broad topics and avoid topics that'll cause you to rely on like personal opinions. Okay. Your opinions are always valid, but just try not to rely on them too much, in academic writing. Okay. And then finally, here's our timeline. This timeline will take us through the end of March. All right. Considering normally it'll be shorter, but you guys have a break next week. So the outline I'm going to go over in a second. Okay, outlines due when we come back. Hated to do it, right, to give you something over break, but I tried not to give you anything that's going to be like extensive over the break. So really, your job over the break is just kind of getting ideas together, and I'll show you an example of an outline for an assignment of this nature. And it's really, it's kind of an informal outline. All right, you don't have to do the Roman numerals and all that good stuff. Okay. Rough drafts due March 15th, which is a Thursday, I believe. No, that's a Tuesday as well. Right. Conferences the following week, and then we'll submit the final draft the week after all that. Okay. So we have time, right? You definitely have, excuse me, you definitely have time to put some thought into what you're going to be writing about. And I know I keep repeating this, but just go back to that question, right? What am I interested in? Okay. What do I care about? Right. I think if we do things that way, you'll have some investment, in your writing, as opposed to just doing this thing because your mean old professor made you do it. All right. Now, okay. Any questions about what you're being asked to do here with this essay?
Norwood, so it says we can't use, what is it, any of the examples or something like?
No, you can. Yeah, you can use them, Amir. You're just not obligated to.
So like if I, like, for example, use sports, I can talk about the trauma, whatever, because it says you're not obligated somewhere, I think
Yeah,
at the end.
it just means that you don't have to, but you can. So if
Oh,
you want to talk about like the effects of head trauma, you certainly can, Amir.
oh,
All right. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So like anybody, you guys are free to use these examples if you want, but I was just saying like you don't have to. I just put the examples there to give you some idea of what you could write about. Okay. Yeah, head trauma is a thing though, especially that's why, you know, many parents these days are kind of questioning the decision to get their kids involved in contact sports. All right, like football and even hockey, you know, to a certain extent, right? Yeah, choose something you like. Any other questions or thoughts about, you know, what we're doing? All right, cool. Now, if you joined us late or you didn't see where I got this from, this is in this writing a causal analysis module, all right, on D2L. Okay. Now, all right, some of this stuff we're going to go over Thursday, like the how to, and I'll show you the examples and all that. Did I put, oh yeah, did I put, is this the example I use? I have a few examples from students that I show. So D2L. All right. So there's a fake name, of course, Sammy Korth. All right. All right. So there's this one, but I have a few more that I'm going to upload as well. A few more examples. All right. Now, okay. Here's what we're on the hook for when we come back from break. This outline. Okay. This is our pre-writing. This is our pre-writing. Just like we did just like you did the reflection for your narrative essay. This time we're going to put an outline together. Okay. And our outline is going to have certain features that help us when we have to put our essay in. Okay. Now, I want you to use this outline as a template for what you're going to do. And when I say use it as a template, I mean like whatever you're working on, you can just take out what's here. All right. So you're going to keep these bold categories the same. Okay. And of course, you're going to use your MLA heading. You don't have to call this assignment anything, like you don't need a title. All right. Now, okay, what you're doing here is pretty much building your paper. Okay. You're visualizing your paper. You're thinking about the points you're going to make to develop your essay. Right. And I think if you work this out ahead of time, the better off you'll be. The more organized your essay will turn out. If you work through this stuff, you know, ahead of time. All right. So the topic for this paper is the effects of increasing college costs on college students and graduates. That's the topic. That's what this paper is about. Okay. That's what this paper is about. Excuse me. Okay. Now, one good strategy for writing a paper of this nature is to come up with your thesis statement beforehand. And what you're going to be coming up with on this outline or on this skeleton of your paper, if you will, is called a working thesis, right? Working thesis just means you have the idea. You just might say it differently when you put your draft together. That's okay. Okay. Like this thesis statement. Oh, man. This thesis statement, it's kind of a mouthful, but you can always edit it or revise it, before you commit it to a draft. All right. So the cost of higher education has increased dramatically over the last decade, which has resulted in potentially devastating economic and emotional effects. Right. So with that thesis statement, just told the reader what this paper is going to be about, the effects of increasing tuition. Right. And if we want to get more specific, the economic and emotional effects of increasing tuition. Okay. So think about what you're going to be writing about. And then, think about how you can present that to your audience. Think about how you can present your main idea to your audience. Okay. And, you might have to go through a few variations of your thesis statement before you get it to sound the way you want it to sound. That's fine. Okay. Now that you have your topic, now that you have your thesis statement, now you're going to be thinking, well, so what are the effects of increased tuition? Okay. This is when you're gonna, this is really when you can put your, like, the ideas that you have for your paragraphs. All right. Now here, if you can see, this one says effect, but if you're discussing, causes, like if you want to discuss the causes of increased tuition, you would just put cause instead of effect. All right. That's okay. All right. One effect, the high cost of college leads to slower graduation and increased dropout. Okay. So the bullet points could just be ideas that you want to flesh out in paragraphs, like slower graduation rates. Students often find it necessary to take a semester off to save up school funds. Okay. And then I'll write a paragraph on my essay, not your outline, but on your essay, you'll write a paragraph just developing that idea, meaning like show your reader how that's true. Show them with an example, show them with some research. All right. And then, maybe I'd have another paragraph, right? Increased dropout rate. Some may find the cost of college to be so unaffordable that they completely drop out. Okay. Then I'd have a paragraph on that. Okay. Showing my reader how that's true. Another effect, more debt after graduation. Paying my student loans now, man, and I'll probably be paying them for the rest of my life. Okay. Or at least until I fake my death and get a new identity. Okay. Got it all planned out. Right. Debt can prevent students from working in their field of interest, as some will take, quote, survival jobs to repay loans. Then another paragraph, loan debt can prevent upward mobility, as it can be difficult to buy a home after being saddled with debt. Buying a house or really anything involving credit, can be difficult if you got like a certain amount of debt. Okay. Then another effect, college can become cost prohibitive to low income students. Okay. Financial aid is available, but may not cover the entire cost of college. I would discuss that in a paragraph. Loss of hope for potential students, meaning some may say, I'll never be able to afford that, so they don't even try. Okay. Like, what's the use? I can't afford this anyway. All right. Increased chance of repeating cycles of poverty. Okay. Again, all of that, will be fleshed out in distinct paragraphs. Okay, now, okay, the emotional, because that's part of my thesis statement. So I do have to address that in this paper. All right, the emotional or mental, toll of debt. Okay, if you've ever been in a lot of debt, you'll probably know it's pretty stressful. All right, sometimes it can be all consuming. All right, debt has proven to adversely impact mental health. All right, so I would tell my reader that, but then I would also have to show them. Intense stress can lead to depression, absolutely. Okay, then I would show my reader how that's true. Right? And then at the end, put your why. Okay, like what's the purpose of all this? What do you want your reader to take from your paper? Lowering or freezing the cost of college is in the best interest of students. Okay, when you're doing your outline, or when you're getting these ideas together, try to come up with as many as possible, right? Because this is, like, if we really look at this is about 4 pages worth of material once all of this gets turned into paragraphs. But I think in doing your brainstorming or doing your pre-writing, it's always best to come up with more ideas, than you think you need. Okay, that way you can sort of look back and then begin to like sift through your ideas. All right, which ones do I want to pursue? And before you even do your outline, you may be jotting these ideas down on paper. Okay, and then going back through that paper or going back through your brainstorm, and like I was saying, just deciding what you want to pursue. Right. But I think if you come up with, like, when you do your outline, if you come up with like 4 causes or 4 effects, that's plenty, right? For a paper of the length that we're going to be writing. All right. So that's something we're going to be working on. Just getting these ideas together, getting our pre-writing ideas together. And I have a template that you can use, but really you can use this one, like I was saying before. All you have to do is just go through and delete all the stuff that I have in there. You're going to keep these categories, of course, but just delete, whatever I have in there, and then, put your own material in there. All right. What's your thesis statement? Right? What's your topic going to be? Right? Are you discussing causes or effects? All right. And then put that, within your essay. Okay. Well, not within your essay, but on your outline here. Right. Now, okay, all of that is in this week 8 module. Okay. All of that is in not week 8, in the writing a causal analysis module. I'm getting ahead of myself. I think in March 8th, I got that in the brain. Okay. Any questions about the outline or the draft or anything else? Okay. Anybody have an idea about what they want to write about? This is a good time to discuss it. Okay. Think about it. Think about it. Think about what you want to write about. And for the millionth time, right? A good place to start is asking yourself what you are interested in. Okay. I think, like, that makes for like some of the most I guess most fruitful essays or most interesting essays, if you have that personal, these aren't personal essays, but if you have that personal connection, whatever you're writing about.
I was thinking,
Mhm.
I was thinking about writing about the recidivism because I'm on supervised release.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
a good topic to write about. Okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mm.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Start committing them
Real
ideas to paper
interested in
now.
that.
Say what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Start committing your ideas to
Yeah,
paper.
I'm right. Yeah. I'm real interested in that as I'm going through it. So that's something. And to learn do the research and find the numbers. Yeah. The
Yes.
statistics of it. Yeah. That'll be
Absolutely.
interesting.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I forgot the statistic, but it's there. There's a high percentage of people that reoffend, and it's really, people are just, doing what they got to do to survive. And part of that is it's starting to happen, in some states, but we really haven't gotten to a place where we give people another chance, after they had
Right.
some contact with the system. So like
Right.
whatever job you're applying for is like that comes out, and sometimes people get judged, based on that, unfortunately,
Right.
right? So
Absolutely.
after you get so many doors slammed in your face, unfortunately, but some people just do what they got to do to survive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could be one of the causes, just like, or something you can look into, Robert, is just like how I was saying before that, we really don't do that great of a job, of preparing people, for what's to come
Right.
after.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They want you to just go and move furniture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some people might be passionate about moving furniture, but other
Right.
people's like, no, I want to work in technology, or I want to do this, or I want to have my own business or whatever. So it's
Absolutely.
just like,
Right.
I don't know. It's I look at it like this. The majority of people who are incarcerated are getting out at some point, right? So why
Right.
not equip them, with some skills, or why not give them some emotional counseling, or something? Try to get to the root cause. But
Right.
I don't know. It seems like our solution is to build another jail, right? Like that'll
Right.
that'll show them. Let's
Absolutely.
build another one,
Mhm.
okay?
Right.
And then like
Mhm.
privatized prisons are making it come back too. All right. So that's
Yeah.
that's an interesting topic, right? And for the rest of us out there, I do want you to have, some stake in what you're writing about, or like I was saying, like some kind of personal connection to what you're writing about, whether that's just, an experience, right? Or, it could just be something that you have an interest in. That's cool. Okay. Very good. Very good. So if anybody else, right, wants to run an idea by me via email, or Thursday when we have another session, you say, hey, Norwood, here's what I'm thinking. Like I'm cool. I'm happy to have that discussion with you all. All right. So that's really one of the goals from now until Thursday, right? You don't have to have anything that's set in stone by Thursday, but do start thinking about, what you're going to pursue for this assignment. Okay. So start thinking about it, and we'll pick this conversation up on Thursday. All right. Any other questions or thoughts before we dismiss?
Hey, Mr. Norwood.
Yep.
I've been having trouble uploading my assignments to D2L.
What format are you using? Like, are you using
Uh,
Word or Google Docs, or what are you doing?
Google Docs. I've been doing my work on the Chromebook.
Ah, yeah. Okay. You know how Docs works, but when you're saving to Google Docs, let me see your options up here. I haven't used Google Docs in forever. Okay. So Jalen, when you save using Google Docs, you want to go you want to go download. All right, and then save as PDF.
Uh,
And then that'll put your work on your computer, and then upload the PDF into the assignment folder. Because I don't think it's gonna let you share
mm-hmm.
with me. So just go, instead of share, go download, and then save it as a PDF. Right?
Okay.
And then you should be smooth after that. All right.
All right. Bet. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions or thoughts before we get on out of here?
So in order when we write the outline,
Mhm.
it's literally, we have to write it just like that outline you showed us, so it's not like we're
Yeah,
typing.
keep the headings. Like
Oh,
keep the categories, meaning so your topic is gonna go here, but keep the bold where it says topic.
okay. So we have
Right.
to like type all that in, like the topic, thesis statement, kind of.
Yep.
Does
Yep.
that make
Yep.
sense?
You're gonna get rid of my stuff
Oh,
and then just fill in your own.
okay.
Right. And I have a blank one of these somewhere on my computer. I can get that uploaded also. Oh, I wasn't sharing just then either, right? But I meant to show you that. So Amir, where it says thesis statement or where it says topic, you're just gonna get rid of my stuff and then type in your own, whatever you're
Okay.
thinking about. So if you're, I don't know if this is what you're doing, but
Huh.
this is just an example.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're just gonna get rid of my stuff and then type in your own
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Yeah, that's what I was asking. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep. That way it just cuts down so you don't have to recreate this whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. Any other final questions or thoughts? Or if you know, like I said, if you have something you're thinking about, you can either email me or you can just wait till Thursday and we'll talk about it. But try to be thinking about something by Thursday's class. Even if it's just a big idea, you're still working on narrowing down. So okay. That's all I got, folks. Have a good day. Let's do it again Thursday. Also, again, like how we started this conversation, if you did not get your narrative final draft, then get that in ASAP. Because I don't want you to still be working on that while we're about to start this new thing. Okay, so get that in. And I will get this recording uploaded today.